Hello, and welcome to RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged, where today I will be rejudging All Stars 3 in a generally fairer way. First up, we have the Episode 1 variety show. This episode was particularly hard to judge. While Aja and Ben de la Creme were, in my opinion, the clear top two, I think the high placement this episode could have easily gone to Thorgy Thor, Kennedy Davenport, Trixie Mattel, Shangela, or Bebe Zahara Benet. I decided to go with Kennedy because of how incredible her dancing was, but really any of them could have done it. As for the bottom three, I decided to keep Chi-Chi DeVayne and Morgan McMichaels in the bottom, and I bumped Milk down from safe to low because it wasn't really anything special. Aja and Ben de la Creme lip sync to Anaconda. Ben de la Creme wins and sends home Morgan McMichaels. Next up, we have the episode 2 Rusical. Before I get to the actual judging, I'm gonna say this. This episode is, in my opinion, the most rigged episode the show has ever had. On one hand, you have parts like Julie Andrews and Mariah Carey that were clearly written to be the top two of the week. And on the other hand, you have a part like Stevie Nicks that I don't think anyone could have pulled off. Anyone who got the role of Stevie Nicks would be in the bottom here, regardless of how strong of a performer they were. On that note, I chose Ben de la Creme and Shangela for the top two of the week. Interestingly, the top two of the week played Julie Andrews and Mariah Carey. The high slot could have gone to either Chi-Chi or Aja. I decided to go with Chi-Chi based off her runway and the fact that she really shined in this episode. For the bottom three, I decided to keep the bottom two as Kennedy Davenport and Thorgy Thor with Milk as low. I decided to save Milk over Thorgy. Based off her runway and the fact that it makes more sense to keep her from a storyline producer standpoint. Ben de la Creme and Shangela lip sync to Jump for My Love. Shangela wins and sends home Thorgy. Next up, we have the episode 3 Improv Challenge. I decided to keep the top three exactly the same as it was in the original season. Kennedy Davenport and Ben de la Creme were clear standouts and were the top two. And Trixie places high based off the fact that she was really funny when she was not being dragged down by Milk. As for the bottom two, I decided to put Chi-Chi DeVayne and Milk. I decided to save Aja because she had the clear best runway and the clear best performance of the bottom three. Ben de la Creme and Kennedy Davenport lip sync to Green Light. Kennedy wins and sends home Milk. Next up, we have Snatch Game. Please hear me out on this. I decided to go with Aja and Ben de la Creme for the top two. I think Shangela had a strong performance and a strong runway. It just wasn't as great of an impersonation. Meanwhile, Aja had a great impersonation, was really funny, and had a really solid runway. For the bottom three, I chose Chi-Chi DeVayne and Kennedy Davenport with Trixie Mattel as low. I know that is controversial, but please hear me out. Trixie had the clear best runway of the bottom three. Outside of when you're not in the top, you're in the bottom challenges and team challenges, I don't really believe in a bottom three. And finally, Trixie had the best Snatch game out of herself, Kennedy, and Chi-Chi. Trixie's Snatch game was terrible and bad, but it was cringy bad, whereas Chi-Chi and Kennedy were just bad. Aja and Ben de la Creme lip synced to I Kissed a Girl. Ben de la Creme wins and sends home Chi-Chi. Next up, we have the episode 5 Ball. I know this is controversial. Once again, please hear me out. I decided to go with Bebe and Trixie for the top two. I know that Aja did a lot of work on Bebe's garment, and a lot of people believe she should have been in the top 2 or at bare minimum high for this challenge. However, I personally don't think her soup can was good, which was a huge component of this challenge. I didn't enjoy her voiceover, but her look was amazing. Meanwhile, you have queens like Bebe and Trixie who have a good voiceover, a good final product on the runway, and a good soup can. For those reasons, I put Bebe and Trixie as the top 2, Bendela Creme and Aja as safe, which leaves Kennedy Davenport and Shangela as the bottom 2. I think that Kennedy Davenport was 5th best, not 2nd worst, if that makes sense, but that unfortunately does leave her in the bottom here. Bebe and Trixie lip sync to The Boss. Bebe wins, and I believe sends home Kennedy, but I am not 100% on that. Next up, we have episode 6, which is the Girl Groups Challenge. Aja is really good at writing verses, but I don't think her branding on this challenge was incredible, which causes me to put Bebe and Bendela Creme as the top 2, unfortunately leaving Aja, Shangela, and Trixie Mattel in the bottom despite how great all 3 of them did. Bebe and Dela lip sync to Nobody's Supposed to Be Here. Dela wins. She chooses Morgan McMichaels to return to the competition in this timeline, and she chooses to eliminate herself. I think the circumstances are still very much similar to the original, and at this point she just wanted out. Next up, we have the episode 7 acting challenge, and this is where the season really started to lose momentum. I don't think Kennedy Davenport being gone over Aja makes that much of a difference in this timeline. I think Shangela and Trixie are still the top 2, leaving Aja, Bebe, and Morgan in the bottom. Shangela and Trixie lip sync to Freaky Money. I think the lip sync is a lot closer than a lot of people give it credit for, but Shangela wins and eliminates Morgan McMichaels. I don't really know how the fan vote would play out in this timeline. I think everyone would do pretty well. Bebe would probably be 4th and Trixie would be 1st, but it would be relatively close. In terms of track record, in 1st place, we have Bebe with 2 wins and 1 bottom and a score of 5.86. In 2nd, we have Trixie with 2 wins and 1 bottom and a score of 5.71. In 3rd place, we have Shangela with 2 wins and 2 bottoms and a score of 5.57. And in 4th place, we have Aja with 2 wins, 2 bottoms, and a score of 4.86. Due to the unfortunate situation with the Girl Groups Challenge, I don't think any queen here but Bebe has a score that reflects how well they really did on the season, but that's neither here nor there. Based off the season as a whole, the fan vote, and all contributing factors, I believe Bebe gets cut at 4th place. There is no jury in this timeline, although I think if it was here, it would pick Aja and Trixie. Aja, Shangela, and Trixie all lip sync to Wrecking Ball. I really don't know how this would play out, but I think regardless of how the actual lip sync goes down, Trixie still wins the season. All 3 of these queens had great runs and a massive glow up, but I think Trixie's fan base is able to push her over the edge. I think that because the jury twist didn't benefit her at all, Trixie gets viewed as a much stronger winner in this timeline. But I don't think that really has a major effect on how her, Aja, or Shangela's careers play out afterwards. On that note, hey, it's Redacted. Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then subscribe to Drag Race Rejudged.